Well, they invested quite a bit of money in Stanton, right? And it's a player that, as good as he can be, and when he's on and he goes on those stretches where he is the best hitter on the planet, and sometimes it's a little confounding because he has such a unique swing, and you guys can speak to this. Like sometimes it looks like he's lost at the plate and his timing is completely out of whack, but then other times he looks like the best hitter ever. And he's able to hit these 500-foot home runs. So the thought process was there, right? You're putting another all-time slugger, generational, prodigious power type of guy into that lineup with Aaron Judge, but the balance around it wasn't there either. And when Stanton's missing time every single season with lower body, soft tissue type injuries, maybe more of Judge's injuries have been unlucky, hit by pitches, running into the concrete slab at the bottom of a wall at Dodger Stadium. That's another reason here, because you're investing all of that money, and then that's going to be a detriment to the depth that you have around that player. And then you go into last offseason, and you had to bring Judge back. You brought Rizzo back. But the offense that was their downfall in the playoffs last year, they didn't address it. And they brought in Carlos Rodon as another ace, and that didn't work out either. He missed 3 months of the season with injuries. So, like I said earlier, it is just a perfect storm here. And as much as the Yankees are a multi-billion-dollar organization, they've shown that they don't want to exceed that final luxury tax threshold. And as much as their payroll is right up there at 300 million, it's not like they can just pay for everybody and go absolutely bonkers with the payroll higher than they already are. That seems like their track record here in the last couple of years. So when you're paying as much as you are to Stanton, you're paying as much as you are to Cole and Judge and some of the veterans like Donaldson and Severino, they've got some of that money coming off the books. LeMahieu's contract isn't aging well. That's going to be a detriment to the rest of the roster, right? Because you don't have as much money to work with. And I think that's part of the reason why they didn't go all in at the trade deadline and make some moves, because they didn't have the financial space to make that happen.
How can it be changed? Because that Ben Ruda, who was just commenting there, I remember his name from being with the Yankees organization. Like, how can this be changed? Because he is spot on. I don't know about the games that they were playing, but he's spot on. And that's kind of what I was alluding to with Davey is I don't think Matt Blake killed him. I don't think Matt Blake hurt his chances. It was the guys that they put with him at the alt site, pitching coaches that didn't know what it was like to pitch in the big leagues. And I'm not saying you have to know what it's like, but you have to be able to ask other people, and you have to be able to grow those guys and cultivate those guys. And they haven't been able to call guys up from the minor leagues to help a team that's struggling. So where do the Yankees go from here? You can't get rid of everybody but Judge and Cole. And Rizzo, will be back when his concussion is done. If it's done, where do they go from here?
That's the issue, right? Because as much as Cole and Judge and the other stars on this team are superstars in the primes of their careers, it's only going to last for so much time, right? And at a certain point, those guys are not going to be as good as they are right now. Cole has an opt-out after next year. Would he consider going out and testing the open market? It certainly seems like he'd get a raise if he did that. Obviously, Judge is the captain. He's not going anywhere. But that's the issue with what we're talking about here. If it's going to take a step back in the depths of the farm system in the organization and maybe a bit of a reversal in philosophy behind closed doors, that might take some time for you to start to reap the benefits of it and the repercussions of maybe years of poor decisions and what's being said behind the scenes. You're seeing that right now in a division, right? That it's going to be hard for them to win this division for the next decade. It seems like the Orioles aren't going to go anywhere. They're not even reaching their peak with the prospects that they have coming up. The Rays aren't going anywhere. The Blue Jays are still there. And the Red Sox are, competitive as much as I think the Yankees might end up having a better record than them at the end of the year. They're there too, right? I mean, this is not the time for the Yankees to take a step back, and it wouldn't be Yankee-like for them to maybe go into a rebuild or have a soft rebuild. And that's part of the reason why they didn't trade guys away and totally wave the white flag at the trade deadline earlier. So to answer your question, I'm not really sure. I'm sure that they're thinking about that behind the scenes right now and trying to scramble and figure out how they can attack this offseason, because it's a pivotal offseason for this team. You don't want to waste another year of Judge and Cole in 2024. So you've got to make the right moves, the right signings with whatever financial space that they do end up having. and maybe bring in some fresh minds to try to spark this club and hit the ground running in 2024.